His people may be starving, but he's got the hydrogen bomb, and that is what's drenching our markets in the red in this final hour of trade, with the Dow down 237 points. Look at the volatility or fear index. Earlier, it spiked up more than 30%. It's up 26.5% right now in the aftermarket session. Well, actually, no, it's not. The CBOE is still trading at the moment, so it's not aftermarket for them. But it is a very frightening day for people who are watching this market very closely. Today, President Trump, one of those people, tweeted that he will fast-track U.S. weaponry to Japan and South Korea, which, of course, are very much in the I guess you could just call it the, what do you call it, dartboard? I mean, right there, in the very, very big target area. Foundation for Defense of Democracies founder and President Clifford is joining us now. We're looking at, does he have the bomb? We know that he set something off that he says is a hydrogen bomb. This was yesterday. The markets are fearful. A, do you believe it? And B, what's he going to do with it?
Well, look, I think it's probable that he does. We don't know exactly what stage he's at. What we're most worried about is the ability to miniaturize nuclear weapons, put them on the tops of missiles that are reasonably reliable and that can survive a trip from Korea through space and back into the atmosphere and hit a city like Los Angeles or perhaps anywhere else, because they're getting longer and longer range. I think the Trump administration understands that we cannot tolerate North Korea, this particular regime, as a nuclear power in the world. The question is how we prevent that. If North Korea, Kim Jong-un, becomes a nuclear power, he can do many things. He can use nuclear blackmail in various ways. He can threaten our cities. He can give weapons or try to various terrorist groups. He can say, you'll have to do the following for me if you don't want me to launch. And there's something else, Liz, called an EMP, which is where you use a nuclear weapon at high altitude. It doesn't kill anybody, but it fries the electrical grid and every computer anywhere under it, and people begin to die not long after, when hospitals no longer have electricity.
Let's get to that. This is the point. We're thinking that he is insane, he's crazy, but maybe he's not going to hit a major metropolis here in the U.S. You are saying that if he sails this ICBM with the nuclear warhead on it, detonates it well above a gigantic area, instead of hitting it on the ground, that will be just as horrific?
Yes, that would be just as horrific. Not immediately, but over time. There have been whole books written on this, novels as well as nonfiction, saying what would happen. We're not prepared for an EMP attack. And by the way, you can have an EMP occur as a natural event from explosions on the sun.
What does that stand for, EMP?
Electromagnetic pulse. In other words,
so that's like what we've talked about with the solar flares from the sun.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And the simplest thing that we should have done years ago, people have been arguing for it to Congress, is that you harden the grid and you preposition those parts of the system that are likely to get fried. But your computers, your cars, airplanes in the sky, anything dependent on computers that's not specifically hardened. Now, Air Force One is hardened against EMP, but anything that's not would stop working wherever it is, and that would be a very bad thing. Look, the main thing is that you cannot have Kim Jong-un having nuclear weapons.
But Cliff, sanctions aren't working. What do we do? And all roads to North Korea go through China. China does not look willing to play.
Very good point. China has always seen North Korea as an asset. We have not yet convincingly made China see North Korea as a liability. I think what you mentioned before is part of it, saying to the world, saying to the North Koreans, look, we're going to begin sending very high-level weapons to Japan, to South Korea. Maybe we're going to have tactical nuclear weapons of our own in North Korea. We used to have that. We have to do a lot more with missile defense. We have to say that any company, any bank, including Chinese, that are dealing with it, we have to bring all instrumentalities against North Korea and have military as a credible threat.